This is going to be the first DAO meeting to create from the community the TAN network DAO, which has been, correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett, created really something of the old vision of the IOTA Tangle to keep it alive and to truly build it by the community for the community.
Exactly. Just to add, I definitely believe the technology is still really premium in the space, and I believe we try it in a more decentralized way and use it in the right use cases. I think the Tango application network could actually go quite far.
Yeah, I think that there's still trying to reach that sort of feeless network is something that has a lot of value. And, I'm, of course, always a proponent of building something that is truly decentralized. And I think that even comes in a organizational structure. And I think that, really we can...
Actually, we have no control over it.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I think my microphone's on. My apologies. Hello, everybody.
Hey,
I'll turn it off now.
No problem.
But yeah, I think it's exciting to, I feel like, at least I came to crypto myself and really believed in the vision of, if you want to use a network, you support the network, a truly decentralized and even on decision making. And I think, different networks have tried different ways. And sometimes is something to be really built by the community, for the community and fully decentralized. So I'm excited to see some governance kind of come from the ground up and build it with everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say, for anyone that wants to jump in and get active, and that's always something that, I think any network, any community is always trying to get people to be active. But, what did, we all come from IOTA, we all come from Shimmer. That's not, anything that isn't. What we should look at is like, what did we see that worked and what maybe were the strengths and what maybe, we wouldn't want to see built in a governance on the TAN network. I'm just curious if anyone has any ideas.
Just to get the ball rolling, I think transparency being the biggest one here, especially on the technical side, is a pitfall we'll definitely want to avoid being too closed-mouthed on. Like you said, JD, I think there's a ton of value in making sure like that original decentralized vision of crypto is followed, and really that's not going to come from gating kind of ideas around our technical discussions. We talked about this a bit before, but just to repeat for the group, IOTA, we've all seen in the community, there's some really brilliant folks who, are part of the community. They've got really good and valuable input. And I think just not overly gatekeeping and having an on-ramp for people to just easily jump in whenever something is being built, especially after a core team of some kind is established, will be really great to help make everyone a bit of a missionary on the platform and live up to that true decentralized approach. And just to close my thoughts on this, one very successful example of this was actually in the AI agent space. This DAO called A16Z, where it's just a bunch of really smart programmers who were teamed up with a couple business guys and a few other folks who started to come in and out over time. And they developed a framework for AI agents in crypto and Web3. They ended up launching a token, became incredibly successful, but it really just started off with like people being heads down and working hard and working on something that they cared about, and anybody was able to contribute, which was really cool. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing I want to see out of future TAN.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm kind of writing down some notes, and so we can have a summary of this meeting that people can read. And I think that's one thing that when I visited, a crypto conference in Denver and started talking with people in other ecosystems and other networks, it was such a big thing that they need talent, and it was how can that ecosystem really make it easy for someone to come in and start contributing on a technical basis, and that's libraries, that's et cetera. And again, I think not having closed many levels of, well, you got to get approved by this person, and then that person has to approve you, then that group has to approve you, then you got to get into the secret group, and that this group can't talk to that group, et cetera. Okay, there's a question from Remix. I'm going to read it. How will a normal community member contribute in governance? Is it as simple as voting? Absolutely. I mean, I think, and this is just me, and this is not, just my opinion, but somehow I think with a DAO, we have to get to a point where we can make decisions. Generally, that comes down to some sort of voting mechanism, and that's something that we would have to discuss in these weekly meetings: is what kind of voting system. And from our experiences, you can do token voting, you can do weighted voting. There's all kinds of different types of voting, as well as, excuse me, what kind of voting with the current TAN technical abilities. So that certainly becomes voting is probably one of the biggest, can take weeks of discussions until we get to, and that doesn't have to be just that voting. It could be Discord polls, Twitter polls. I think that's a few steps down from where we're at today. But I think even how could a normal community member contribute is showing up to the meeting and getting involved. I mean, we want to build this together. So it's kind of like, let's say we're just starting, right? So we can create whatever we want. So one of those things we want is, well, what direction are we going to head in? Okay, so let's look at the strengths and weaknesses of case studies, CFER bringing up, A16Z, our experiences, other DAOs, etc. What do we think worked, what didn't, and try to, get a consensus. And I think that's the biggest thing. Now, are we going to have a perfect consensus in these first, couple of months while we build this thing? Probably it's not going to be perfect. It's just going to be these meetings and try to get a consensus of the group, try to be transparent, offer those, get it in a general channel, kind of some of the big decision things, and find out what the TAN network community wants to see evolve. And then, we that want to be active on a weekly basis can come here and work towards that. So I think there's the governance is a lot of contribution can be done. There could be all kinds of things from note taking to developing, a governance on, what's that? What's IOTA use for their governance? It's not Discord. It's
Yeah, I think they more use like the token voting, like in Firefly and in Bloom. And I also talked to Charlie from Bloom, and actually I think we can get Bloom support us for the token voting part. And for the token voting, it's definitely a long run and the better idea. But definitely, I think what you suggest, like in Discord or some smaller things for the voting process, we can use a more simple voting. Like I think Discord with people who show up to the meeting, I think can move things faster and quicker. Yeah, and into some more like until we have more people inside our community, we can definitely use like token voting, things like that. Longer program. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great to hear about Bloom. I mean, that's awesome, and having the ability to do token voting eventually, and that's something that could be a discussion too. Is we could go fast and it won't be perfect, or we could seek perfection and it takes a couple of years. My experience and my personal opinion is crypto moves fast, in this industry, and for a community and for a network, it's not going to be perfect. Very few cryptos out there are perfect, but the market is changing so quick that you have to change with it or you get left behind, So I'm always kind of a proponent of move fast and understand that it won't be perfect and there will be criticisms, but also be open as a community to understanding we're not perfect and we're just always trying to seek perfection. You can always do a reiteration as it goes, but also try to stay up with the market. I think Seafair and Garrett kind of support that fast movement as well. I could be wrong, but
yeah, definitely. I think it's a really, really good question, and the balance is really important. I think the thing is that we really need to the decentralization. I think is the core, and being fast is the method. Yeah.
What do you think, Seafair?
Oh, absolutely. If we're able to just be open and honest about these conversations too, we can pivot much quicker. I think one mistake I would hate to see repeated is these working silos that you'd called out about talent accessibility. By keeping conversation in these open forums and meetings, there's going to be a lot of people who are in tune with other parts of like the crypto ecosystem, new and developing trends and stuff like that, that they can share those opinions and we can respond to them as a DAO collectively and work faster off that. I think that was really one of the big pitfalls of IOTA. They kind of got caught up in last cycle's trend every single time.
Yeah, writing that down. Oh yeah. We got what's Miss Remix says. I think criticism can be silenced as long as the moves are voted by the community. I'm like, yep. A few questions from Mr. Storm. How is the TAN token sale going? How much funds have you managed to collect by selling TAN until now? How much more will be sold in the short term? Related to the previous question about funding, how many devs will be working on TAN? Can we get a spreadsheet with addresses and airdrop token locations based on the snapshot that was taken a while ago? Garrett, you want to answer? Do you think, can you answer some of these?
Yeah, definitely. And so for the token part, and the token launch actually was quite successful. The price actually went up like 5 times, or even bigger, and now it drops back still like 5 times of the initial pricing we were planned. However, the volume actually was not really much, and it's like the liquidity is not really much, and if we sell more token, the price will come down. So like in the first day also, we actually sold like $20,000 worth of BNB. And so this was like for the initial budget we have, and this is a really small amount. And for the however, this is also a reason I want to call together with this DAO meeting. And I don't think actually keep selling token in short term is a really good idea. And also, but however, we need to, because for example, we just sold like I think initially we were planning to sell 10% of the whole token supply, but eventually I think we sold basically like 0.1 or something, like 0.2%. So basically we still have a lot of token. So there are different methods we can consider and to do. For example, now I think one reason people are not people are afraid of buying is like they think, oh my gosh, there are like so many more tokens can be sold in the market. However, some we can change it like together with the DAO like precise. Maybe we can decide we are not selling the whole 10% as we planned initially, and instead we can burn it, or we can put it just into the treasury so that people are not worrying that anymore. And for example, if we want a long run, we want to bring some more debt on top inside our group. Actually, we can have a budget plan and decide like how many tokens actually we were planning to sell. So this is a really good question, and if, for example, maybe JD could suggest afterwards how we can move forward in a DAO structure. Maybe, for example, I can make a proposal, and we can, or anyone could make a proposal on this, or maybe I can provide more information so that someone could together like make a proposal for a better token plan here. But I think the good thing is like we see like around like 100 or more than 100 people like interested in the token. They purchase the token, even though we didn't raise a lot from the initial launch. But definitely, I think we can move forward better. And the reason actually we think it can work out even we don't have lots of funding is because currently you can see we are using a DAO structure, and also like the developer actually they are from like original like Tangle Pay team for the tech part. So and forking the Tangle is actually not that costly. But if afterwards we have more plan for example, maybe we need more developers on this. Yeah. So this is hopefully I answer the question, and if it's not clear, I can answer more.
And Garrett, do you mind if I just add to the developer side
Oh,
a little bit?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So while Garrett has mentioned the core team who helped bring this to fruition right now, a lot of the reason for our like token distribution being laid out the way it is in the white paper is really to help create these incentive structures, like JD had mentioned earlier, to attract talent to come in and essentially be rewarded with, tokens as a payment. The beauty with crypto is like the earlier everybody is in it and able to contribute, the more that that tends to benefit those early contributors. So right now the core group has really just kind of like forked IOTA and launched it. And as Garrett mentioned, we do have some talented devs on standby, and there are some rough paths forward as outlined in the white paper. But it is really an open invite to that talent and those people who maybe wanted to get more involved in the IOTA days, and we're just frustrated with how central